Hey everybody, as you may or may not see, I am not on camera today. For some reason my two cameras did not want to coexist together, and so if I had my actual camera running, it would not show the stream camera. So, the keyboard camera. So, there's that. Let me go ahead and mute that. And of course we go straight into an ad break. I'm still kind of getting set up. I haven't even grabbed a drink yet. I'm going to go do that right now. And then we'll get started. We are not working on this keyboard today. This keyboard is nice. We'll see that again later because that is the Venom. Okay, Coke Zero, not sponsored, but they wanted to. I would take that sweet, sweet Coca-Cola money. So, yeah, this is the current state of my Venom tofu build from last week. I changed out the keycaps. I'm also running the AE boards reds in here now, and yeah, I think it's very nice. You can't hear it because it's, well, maybe you can hear it a little. But first, but first, we are going to be working on this bad boy. This here is the Keychron Q5 HE. It is currently has the Tomorrow keycaps by mode on it, and is running a break-in switch configuration with the Keychron Jade Mini E housings with the Keychron Nebula, which is the stock Keychron stems, and that is because of the magnet orientation and the fact that I wanted to have a closed bottom. So we'll take a look at that real quick, because we are so closed bottom, purple stems from the Nebula. Since they are the same mold, we are able to stem swap. That is not the case in a lot of even Keychron switches. So, but actually, let's put it back together. It's interesting, and we're going to check it out. Let's go ahead and so the current lighting on here is configured so that the switches light up the color of the font on it, or because of the per key RGB. I think that looks pretty awesome. But let's bring it up. Okay. So I got the Keychron Q5 HE quite a while ago, around the holidays. There was a sale, and I picked it up, and I have been kind of working with it since then. should see it here in a second. There we go. Set back to the default, which is that. And then, I have run into an issue with it. And the issue is this. So when we start calibration, all right, and you kind of go through your normal steps. Okay. We're going to go through a calibration real quick. It's not going to update unless it's the primary. And you'll notice everything turns green on the keyboard and in the software until we get over here and you see that already the Z key is lit up red. And from this point on, and we're going to go through. Now we're at Z, watch. Nothing. And it doesn't work. However, it was working before, and as you'll see, also it sounds really nice. There we go. Everything but the Z key. In order to get the Z key to work, we actually have to exit calibration, and you'll see, go into the key test. Now the Z doesn't work. But let's go to my key map. Check where am I? Okay, so we go to the function escape. Fortunately, it's going to kill my lighting. I'm going to have to redo that. Well, I'm going to have to redo it anyway when I replace the PCB. Oh no, I'm not. Alright, so if we go back into key test, now it works. If I go into calibration, I try to recalibrate it, that key will fail again. And that is the problem that I brought to Keychron's attention. Initially, their response was if you do the factory reset, it should fix the problem, which it does, until you try to calibrate again. So once I noticed that, I went back to them and I'm like, hey, every time I try to calibrate, I can show you, it does the same thing with the Z key. And so they sent an entirely new PCB. This is good on them. I want to highlight it when companies do what they are supposed to do. And that, again, is what they are supposed to do. So, that being said, let's go ahead and disconnect that. We are going to get rid of our browser. And here we go. This should be the PCB. I hope that I grabbed the right thing. And this looks right. So here's our PCB. It includes the daughter board that comes with it. So we will be replacing the entire thing. Okay. And this is the PCB from a Keychron Q5 HE. This is the daughter board. The daughter board goes here. It has the little switches. Like the fact that it says Q1 Pro USB 2.0. Obviously, the daughter board is a standardized part for them that they use throughout their different devices, and because the Q1 is generally the first build that they do for each new series. So yeah, that is what we're going to start with today. Later on, we'll be looking at this. This is the Aula Win60 61 key magnetic switch keyboard, and it's available for $30 from Amazon, I believe, or $40 from Amazon. I bought it at an auction, pretty much new in package, and made sure that it was in there. It did a factory reset on it for this, yeah, so we'll be taking a look at that, taking a look at its software. And then rebuilding it probably, well, actually, definitely into the Wilbitech Salvation. We'll be making a Salvation build because it does look like it's a standard GH60 board, just like the Wooting. As a matter of fact, it's just a Wooting clone. And then we'll be looking at the software for now. Oh, did y'all see the new little logo that I made? Oh, it's so cute. Just in case you forget who you're talking to, or who's talking at you, or, you know, we have that going on. Gotta make sure I can see my YouTube chatters, just in case anybody decides to chat at me. So, yeah. In the meanwhile, we are going once again with the Dark Academia sound playlist. You know, I'm gonna run out of space. I'm just gonna end up stacking things, so I don't care. Because I just don't have enough space for it. So yeah, the Q5 for when you want a game and you also have to get some work done and you need a numpad. Hard to go wrong. As a matter of fact, talking about this, they just released their Q12, which is their Southpaw version of this. So, yeah, if you like the Keychron, which, you know, we'll go over, well, we'll talk about it right now while we're doing this, and that is the Q12 has, or rather all Keychron keyboards have one big flaw, and that flaw is the fact that it has South Pole facing magnetic sensors. So what that means is that you cannot use you can't use really any of the switches that are Wooting compatible. You must get, well, you're going to get their Nebula switches, which are alright. They're not great. Again, they're open bottom, dual rail, and pretty mediocre, really. This is definitely an upgrade for this keyboard in my mind. Which is why I stuck with it. But yeah, using the Gateron JDEs in it. And we'll look a little bit more at its software. How's everybody's Sunday? Is everybody enjoying themselves, having a nice weekend, getting some rest if you can? You know, I have been excessively tired recently, but excited about new keyboards. I have new switches coming. We'll actually talk a little bit about the switches because I got the bittersweet switches, which are an Akko HMX collab MX Brown, essentially. And we'll take a little look at them. I popped them in a board earlier, and I hate them. But, you know, we'll see what y'all think. I have a cilantro with me right here, so, which, you know, as much as I liked the cilantro, I did not care for the bittersweet. At some point today, I'm also expecting the other, because I have mirrors, and we've had mirrors on the channel before, which is the other Akko, was the first of the Akko HMX collab switches, followed by the Stellar Rose, which I haven't tried yet, but are expected today, and then the cilantro, and finally the bittersweet. I've tried the mirror and the cilantro, and I really enjoyed them both. Before the HMX Chew switches, which is before the Lunar Stone switches, which are my current favorite, the mirrors. So really, any of those switches, I would be more than happy and have put into a board. So I hate it when companies decide to have the switches here, if they are north to south facing, and then they should rotate them. And they should rotate them because when you're trying to get them out, you can't get into the sides to actually grab them. So you're kind of just yanking them. What I'm trying to do here, you need to just force it in, and then you can get it up. One way or the other. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you. Get you. Get you. Get you. One day. Maybe next week. I'm gonna get you. I'll get you. That, by the way, was my spoken word rendition of Blondie's One Way or the Other. If you have never heard this song, go look it up. It's a fun romp about obsession. And by fun romp, I mean it's a song about a woman who's obsessed with somebody who drives by their house, and I'd like to say that that's not a thing that really happens, but I've had friends who've done that. But, you know, they're a little wackadoo. They finally found their lobster, so it's all good. It's very interesting. And maybe it'll be different once we pull out the PCB, but that looks much darker than that. Like it's more of a dark gray, or gray, and that's more of a white. So let's see if... Oop, don't lose the switch. Right. Oh, I'm going to pull the stabs off too. Alright, so to take apart the Keychron, let's move you out of the way for a moment. Hang out over there, which is on the side that you can't see today. I'm sorry about that again. For anybody who has joined us, my cameras did not want to work well together today, and I'm thinking that I just need to get another E-Meet camera to use at the top for me. And if I run them both at the same time, thinking that they will work together. It doesn't seem like I do not have a bit. There we go. Okay. Keychron does include a bit to open their own case. So if you ever decide to get a Keychron, which, you know, their Q series, not bad. It's great for people getting into the hobby. It's a little expensive for the different, I mean, again, I mean, you know, you get brass screws, the aluminum construction, but sometimes the design can be a little lacking. You know, it's very plain bottom. There's no nothing. I mean, this is new. It used to be that there was nothing on the bottom of the case. No indicator that it was a Keychron at all, except for the fact that you know, their stuff is very distinctive because they all basically have these 8 screws on the bottom with brass fittings, or brass screws going into their metal fittings. It's I would say it is completely adequate construction, but a little expensive. Or, you know. And then this would be where the wireless comes through, in which we're going to take a look at in a second. Let's lift this up, and then let's see if I can get your view. There is a single JST connector that connects bottom, and so we take that out, and then we can take off the top, move our screws to the side, drivers to the side, move that up, and you can see here that the daughter board connects there with these 2 screws, which we are going to remove. They are Phillips head. We all hate Phillips head. And but I mean, these seem to be higher quality Phillips head, so I'm not. I mean, my big problem with Phillips head is the fact that they'll strip. But less of a concern with these being higher quality. Then we're going to need to take our this is the connector for the wireless. If you've never seen this cable, it's right here. It pops off. And you'll see this on laptops too that have antennas. So this has to be disconnected. Steal this tape and put it somewhere. Hopefully I can reuse it. Now we can remove that. Be aware of these switches, because we need to take these off and put them on the new board. These seem to be a much better fit than the ones from the past. Take a look and make sure I'm not messing anything up. It doesn't appear to be. Okay. Okay. So now we have our two switches. We're going to keep them oriented to the sides that they came in. We're going to move this out of the way. And just so that you can see, in the bottom of the Keychron, you have a PET sheet attached to Poron foam with a bottom backing that is actually stuck to the bottom. And then finally, one more layer of PET here. The battery is located here. And can I get it? Yeah, there we go. It is a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and we've got that there. That's what the JST connector connects to. We're going to leave our foams in. There's cutout up here. This is a backer for where the knob is, which is right here. And we're going to put that, as you can see here, there's the hole for the knob. It has included these force brakes here, here, and here. I have not put in additional force brakes, but I mean, it hasn't really been necessary. So there are a shit ton of screws that attach the aluminum plate, which is what's here, to the base, or to the PCB, and that is for stability purposes. In the case of Hall Effect, in a lot of cases of Hall Effect, you don't really want the plate or the PCB to flex too much, because it fucks up the sensors. So now I did take this all the way apart once previously, and that was to install my stabs, which we'll need to remove. Funnily enough, it looks like I did not put in any of my clips. I guess I'll do that this time. I'll need to find some. Oh, okay. Now the board is gasket mounted. There's not really a whole lot of flex to it. Like I said, there shouldn't be, and I'm alright with that. I like the gaskets more for making it a somewhat softer typing experience. Speaking of softer typing experiences, did y'all see those new silicone keycaps? Kinda low-key want a set. I mean, I can't imagine that they make any sound. Because, you know, they're silicone. Like, that's what you put in switches to make them silent. So if you want a really silent keyboard, so when I said that there's a ton of screws, I was not kidding. We still have 2 more to go, and I've already taken out like 20 screws here. And now I should be able to remove the PCB. Oh, I think it was just the lighting. Look for any differences. They look basically the same. Again, the Keychrons, one of the good things is that they have a physical reset switch, which is located underneath the spacebar. That is that guy right there. It promotes QMK, but actually it utilizes a fork of QMK via in order to do its work. While I get my stabs out, I have to make sure I keep track of which one is which, because I don't want to just put the same one back in. Hey, did y'all see that Superman is now available? Or rent, or whatever. You can see this is going to be a somewhat long process. Alright, there's our 6.25U. There are no options on here, by the way, which is commonplace for a lot of HE keyboards. In case of the Venom, you can buy 7U or 6.25U, but they're separate PCBs. You have to pick one or the other. Three, and 4 more. It's basically a full-size keyboard, so there are a lot of stabs on it. So I'm not really doing it on camera, I really kind of need to. Apply the proper force. I can show you what I'm doing. I'm just taking my switch puller and using it as basically mini pliers to push in and then push forward. Enough for me to get it out. It is. So 3 more. Try not to ruin the PCB because it only has that Z and issue, and I don't mind keeping it as an emergency backup in case I mess something up. Stop. Hey, have y'all started watching the new season of Wednesday? If y'all are into that, I have. We're only on episode. We're on episode 3. We've watched 2 episodes so far. All right, so last 2. These are our plus and inner keys for the numpad. Okay. Last one. Almost. So close. Okay. Should be able to get it now, and we did. Yay! Okay. All the stabs have been removed from the PCB. This is our old PCB. It does have stab pads on it. I'm not going to put new stab pads on it. Putting clips. Find some. I have some. I know. Okay. So here's our new PCB. We're going to put in our stabilizers, and then we'll find some stab pads for it. Okay. No, you go there. Stick. Okay. You go there. For those of you who have never put in stabilizers before, the hooks here, they hook into the bigger holes. I found that to be counterintuitive when I first started doing stabs. And these are the Paigu stabs. So they have silicone inserts in them. They're some of my favorites. I do have the new V4 night stabs that I have not put onto anything yet. that will be going on something in the not so distant future. Hopefully the Athena 1800, but I don't think that that is going to ship until next month. We ordered it from Divinity, and by we, I mean me. This is a one-person job. So anything you can do to support the channel, like and subscribe here or on YouTube or both, be greatly appreciated. Check everything and make sure it's all snug and flush. So we're looking to see if everything is flush with the PCB. It all is. So we're going to flip it over and find us hooks. Let's see. Not enough. I have staff pads I could put them, but nah. Where are these staff pads? Staff pads are for science.
So perfect for you.
Maybe. There we go. That's what I was looking for. There's my bitch. Alright, so we now have, for those of you who've never put these in, basically they just go in here. Go in. You may think that using some form of tool might make it easier. You would, in fact, be wrong. I was using a tool for a while, and then I found out I couldn't find what I was using, which was tweezers, and I'm like, I guess I'll just have to use my hands, and I'm like, oh wow, this is a lot easier. Hello, Kaylee. Kind of busy right now. On each one of these sprues, there's generally 1 to 2 that were the injection points. They tend to be bigger than the rest, so keep that in mind. Hey, Zenzo. Thank you for the follow. How are you doing today? Are you having a good Sunday? You're not flush. You are not flush. Okay. Well, I'm doing alright. Luckily, I have my Sundays off, so I get to come on here and build keyboards, which I enjoy terribly. How's work? Boring is good when it comes to work, as far as I'm concerned. It beats. Everything's on fire! Because despite what memes will tell you, that is not fine. Yeah, well, that could be bad, depending on, what your business entails. I'm in IT, so come on, go in. Pain. Try a different one. When in doubt. Keyboards are not hard to make. It is essentially just carefully assembling the parts depending on how you want to build it. I mean, it can be more complicated. If you want to design the keyboard yourself, like the PCB and everything from the ground up, you can absolutely do that, and that makes it more complicated. But your standard keyboard, your custom keyboard, like this keyboard, for instance, it comes pre-built, and you can use it out of the box, and that's fine. I have made modifications, like these stabs that are giving me kind of a pain, and that is only because I have giant sausage fingers. So I am trying to get these little tabs to go into the little hole, and that is not wanting to cooperate. Let's see what our set news. I almost had. Okay. I got it finally. Oh, that's probably the hardest thing to do on my keyboards. It's getting these little tabs. You don't really need to use them. I mean, you should. It makes the stabilized keys much more stable, and gives you a better overall typing experience. but if they're not there, no one is going to know. So you try to take out the keycaps, and part of your stabilizer comes with it. Well, not actually all the way out usually, but unlike the night stabs, which are similar to, well, which are ones that when I use the V1 of the night stabs, which I can show you, but they're like these, but clear, and they screw in instead of clip in like these. Their fit was not as good, and so when I went to go use them, I would take out the keycaps, and like this orange part would just come with it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what the Jilly G Willikers heck is going on here? And these clips don't usually give me nearly this much problem. But, I mean, I've had these probably for a while, so these are probably an older generation of this as well. So, yeah, going back to what I was saying, like, if you get something like the Inky 75 by Elecvox, or for instance, and that is because that is a cheap 75% aluminum board that we have tried on this channel and enjoyed. It comes pre-built with keycaps and switches and everything that you need to go. And then when you're ready, if you want to like change out the switches, maybe you want to have tactiles, you can just do that, and it's just replace it, and you're good to go. And you do that with the switch puller. So you take off your keycap by using this guy right here. You just kind of boop, and then you take your switch puller, which is around here somewhere, and you just there you are, and you just clip it in, take them out, put in the new ones. You're off to the races. If you want to build from scratch, that's the same thing, only you don't have to take out the switches first. You just get the switches that you want to put them in, you're good to go. Now these clip-in stabilizers are generally pretty good. So I don't know why these give me so much trouble. I hope you can hear my cat, because she is unhappy. Not with me, but with my girlfriend, who cannot hear her because she has headphones on. Okay. Have you thought about building your own keyboard? Is there anything you like about the keyboard hobby? Are you a big gamer? Alright, and it came out. Well, that just flew across the room. I think it hit her in the head. She may not have noticed. That's good. Okay. 2 more to go, I think. Yeah, 2 more to go. Jeez Louise. Who knew stabs were going to be my big problem today? Anybody watching anything fun? I know I mentioned Wednesday, but there's also the new season of Sandman. Strange New Worlds. Back up. I think Section 31 starts today or next week or something. And then last one, shift. Shift. First one went in. A new sprue. Not today, but for my next build. Alright, finally. Okay, so all of our stabs are in. And then we're going to put our plate back on. Sure, just drop onto here like so. Pull our daughter board out of the way. Everything fits on nicely. Come over here. And now we have to put all those screws back on. All 1 bazillion of them. Start with my opposite corners. Let's make sure that everything is going back into place. It just makes it a lot easier for us to get all of our screws in. You can find all the screw holes that we use because they all have rings around them. So that's pretty handy. I'm just looking for the ones that are in the furthest corners. Once that's done, now we can just do everything else. There's a screw here, but there's no hole. That's because that is the circle there. There's a hole, and that's because that could have been a socket. But as per usual for Keychron, they installed a knob instead. So they didn't actually even draw out the hole, and they don't have the proper sockets or place to put a socket there. But this isn't a mechanical board, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Some of our keyboards, some of our Hall Effect keyboards, do have sockets for mechanical switches. So those are usually our TMR boards. We did have Paco non-TMR board, the Mod 007B HE, that had that was not TMR but did have mechanical switch slots. Funny story. And then they went the other direction. And they went TMR and they got over there. Got rid of their dead zone, which the Keychron here does have, because it is non-TMR. So many screws. Last four. And the last one of these. Goes right here. Yeah, we're locked in. We need our there's a couple things we need here. First of all, we're going to need our switches. This. Which is not fitting quite nearly as nicely as it did on the other one. Oh. And I didn't do that. Okay. So now we have our switches in place. So let's see, we'll flip this over. I'm flipping it over. That gets fed under there. This gets fed into here. That's why. That's why. Maybe I put these on upside down. And that is why they weren't fitting properly. Okay, almost gone. Alright. I think I got it. And so now we have our last two Phillips heads. Lock this in place. There's one. There's two. And that's good. Okay. And we're going to put our little guy in place. Where's he at? Okay. It should be right down here. Is this one black? Oh no, there it is. Okay, there it is. It's right there. So, right there, which is where this little cable is going to go. It should basically lock in to our other. Put it right here. And it's locked in place. Run the cable up. Flip this. Move this forward. Plug in our JST connection. Oh yeah, speaking of building keyboards and them getting easier, things have gotten a lot easier since a lot of companies have started using pogo connectors. This all lined up. So I'm having a little bit of a problem because the GST connector for the daughter board is not bending in the right direction. Okay, well, let's see. Well, that should go. And there we are. Okay, so now we have to return our 8 hex screws. That will be these guys. Again, I do my corners first. One, two. Three. And four. So again, the Pico stabilizers are not usually that finicky to get put in. I blame the fact that they're older. The new ones seem to be much better as far as their clip-in ability. Keep in mind that Pico stabs, as opposed to the stupid stabs, do not include a 7U stabilizer wire, so that you need to either purchase that separately, if that's the direction you're going in, or use something else. Alright, so we should have everything plugged up, and if we knock it over here, now we have our RGB. That's good. I'm going to move it over to Windows, because I'm on a Windows machine. And we'll start putting our switches back in. For anybody who's joining us, the switches that we're using, they are actually a Franken switch that I made of the housing from a Jade Mini E, and that is because it has the closed bottom, with the stem of the Gateron Nebula switches, which are the stock switches that come with, and that is because of the magnet orientation in the stem. So you have to be careful about that if you're getting a keyboard. Sometimes they use south pole facing or oriented switches or sensors, and if they do, you have to get specific switches to go with it. You cannot use the standard routing compatible switches like the Jade Pros or the Jade or the Geon Raws or the Aula TIs. Those are all very specific. Now, some of the newer boards allow for multiple orientations. That's where everything is heading to, and I, for one, welcome our robot overlords. So there's that. Usually I do the four corners when I'm installing switches. Since there are so many screws holding this thing together, I do not feel it necessary to do that in this case. Pretty much it gets pretty locked in. You don't have to worry about bent pins, because there are no pins, because it's HE. And the reason we use the new daughter board as well as the new PCB is because if there is a problem with the daughter board that's causing the Z issue, I just wanted to get rid of it. Normally I would change one at a time because, you know, always change your variables one at a time. That way everything else is constant while you're testing. In this case, I'm just going to keep them together. Now, if it's still a problem, that then becomes a real mystery. Now, troubleshooting keyboards is like, well, really troubleshooting anything. It's about problem solving. You hear weird laughing in the background. It's just Freya. So the issue that I was having with the PCB, it was really weird. Whenever I would calibrate the PCB, it would shut down the Z key. If I then performed a factory reset on the board, the Z key would come back until the next time I tried to calibrate it. And then it would shut it down again. Yeah, apparently it just had something against the letter Z. Like, it's already the last letter of the alphabet. What more do you want? Right? How are you doing today, Darton? I mean, are you coming from, like, just the consumer market, like razors and stuff? Have you gotten any other custom keyboards? Because I will say that as far as the custom keyboard world goes, you know, I'm just hanging out, rebuilding keyboards. We're going to unbox another one, a budget custom. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, Keychrons are generally it's a good starting point. It's one of those good starting point keyboards. Although the Q series, which is really their premium line, is a little on the expensive side for what you get. I mean, these boards, like this one, I think goes for, you can get it for like $164 right now, but they are normally like $219. Now, granted, it's a full keyboard build. And I don't know if you heard about the switch orientation. So you can't use your standard Jades or, you know, Owl Labs TIs or whatever in it. You have to use theirs, which is kind of a problem sometimes for people. Now, in this particular case, it's still cheap. Well, the other board I'm going to be looking at today is the Aula Win60, which is like a $40 Wooting knockoff. And we're going to unbox it. Well, we're unboxing it, but with a caveat, because I bought it at an auction. So, but it looks pretty much like it's brand new. So we're going to do an unboxing of the auction item that I received. Then we're going to look at it, look at the, yeah, basically, I mean, see what the software is about, because when it comes to Hall Effect, they are made or broken by their software. If you have bad software, then don't get it. In this case, the Keychrons have pretty good software, and we're going to look at that too a little bit. I've looked at it before on my channel. But, I mean, this has been rebuilt. Again, these are Franken switches. Franken switch means that I have taken parts from two different switches to make a unique switch. In this case, I took the stem from the original ones that were... I agree. Now, I like web drivers. There is, of course, the flaw with web drivers, and that is if the company decides that they no longer want to or can support one of their keyboards, they just take down the site. Now, you can no longer configure your keyboard. In the case of Keychron, if they decide to stop doing the support for theirs, they could always release it as VIA, because they use a fork. And if you don't know what a fork is, let me know. But they basically use a fork of VIA. VIA, which is a keyboard customization, and kind of what you want to look for if you're going to be buying a custom keyboard. You should look to make sure that it is VIA based, or QMK based at least, or Vile based would be fine. But you know, a lot of companies that do web-based. Yes, good old Hippia. I love Hippia. I find him to be very entertaining. There are no Gateron Oil King HE switches. Correct, yeah. They're probably not going to be. I mean, pretty much the Jade Pros, which are a Gateron switch, once they hit the market, they kind of became the de facto switch for a long while. So kind of taking that spot. And then other switches started coming out, like I said, the Aula TIs, the Geon Raw switches, the other keyboard that we're looking at, the Aula, when I rebuild it, I am going to use the Gateron Jade Pros in it. Because we're going to be going for Thaki aluminum build. Basically, we're going to take a $40 keyboard, we're going to stick it in a $200 case, and put probably what are about $60 worth of switches in it. And yeah. and see how it works. Oh, your current faves are Oil Kings? Oil Kings are very popular for, like I said, for deeper, what a lot of people would term to be thocky builds. My current favorite switch is the HMX Lunar Stone switch. It's pretty brand new. And I've recently become a big fan. What the heck are you? Where did you even come from? I guess it usually sucks now. But as far as Gateron switches go, I have Oil Kings. I had them up here actually just until about maybe half an hour before the stream. Oh, which again, everybody, I'm sorry, I don't have my camera on. My camera, my keyboard camera decided it would not work if I had the it would not work if I had the the me camera, the webcam on. So I had to disable it for now because I didn't have enough time to fiddle with it for the stream. So I had a choice. I could show you keyboards or I could show you me. And honestly, that is no contest. Because we love keyboards here. If you are interested in trying something a little new at any point in the mechanical keyboards, try some Gateron smoothies. You're sticking in the Gateron family, but you end up with... Oh, I know where you go. You go right there. Right. Now I remember. While this is a 98% layout, this is actually a full keyboard. I could put all 104s on here. So kind of one of those unique layouts that uses a condensed and yet full keyboard. They used what? See, Jockey and TTC. TTC makes some good switches. They are, in my opinion, not as good as the Gaterons or the HMX switches. And if anybody wants to say that all HMX switches sound the same, I will refer you to my video of last week where I took 18, 19 different HMX switches and put them face to face to face so that we could see how they sound. And believe you me, some of them very different. They make really nice mouse switches. Oh, I don't know what switches are in my mouse. I have the Ajaz. Mouse that goes with this base right here, which I really like. It's this mouse right. And oh no, I was wrong. Can I put it here? I did. I had to. You don't see it. You go here. Down. 0, 1, 8, and I don't know why I put 1 where 3 goes. Yes, I know about the making things run Doom and then asking the question on everyone's lips, but can it run Crysis? For those of you who remember, I'm going to take a drink real quick, and then we will look this up and take a look at the software. All right. So we still have the software up. Let's bring that up here. So now we have our keyboard. You off to the side for the moment. We'll come back to you. And can't do it through here. Connect. Oh. If I did this correctly, that should make everything light up. Then I will see it here where you can't see it here. I do. Hit connect. So this is the default settings. You'll see the RGB glow on the keyboard. Just a little, center it so it all looks nice. Do not listen to generic Pro Stator 3. Yes, Crysis used to murder systems back in the day. That is almost what it was made for. People have now forgotten Crysis. It has become a footnote, as opposed to Far Cry, which is still known, but not for what it was originally known. Yeah, I know what it is. I just don't have I don't have my thing set up to block them, and so I get one like every stream, and so that's really it. Alright, so let's take a look here. Our first thing we're going to do is our firmware update. And notice that this is a brand new PCB, so it comes in at version 1.0.0. So we do have firmware update. Keychron firmware updates are a little jacked up, in my opinion. We have to download, because basically it uses the QMK toolbox to update it. And so we need to disconnect and hold down escape, plug it in, and then it should allow me to run the QMK downloader. Wants to install drivers. You can't see this part. Oh wait, no, I fucked up. I gotta run as admin. Then go to Tools, Install Drivers. Yes. It's going to go through and install the drivers. Meanwhile, we can chat a little more. Yeah, I mean... Well, thank goodness. Well, the streaming I was doing in that time period. Actually, I don't know if we were streaming during then. I was streaming. I was part of a campaign of Dungeons and Dragons, and that was what we were streaming. Probably about when we stopped streaming, actually. But I wasn't the person on that. Like the DM was the person who controlled all that at the time. So okay. So now we're gonna flash firmware, match device, get our bootloader, flash firmware. This should complete, and hopefully if it completes successfully, it will reboot the keyboard and we'll get our rainbow. And there we go. Connect. Find our Keychron. Now shows our current firmware. Reconnect. Go here. Brings us back. And now we have a fully updated keyboard. But now comes the ultimate test. So we hit our calibration button here, and all the keys turn purple. They are waiting for us to have inputs. So we push the buttons, each one in turn. And this is how you calibrate a Hall Effect keyboard. Basically what it's doing is it's measuring the distance it takes for you to push from the top to the bottom. And that is telling the system what the actual distance that it can support is. So it's important to do full travel. Don't do it too fast. You don't have to do it too slow. There are newer boards that, like the Keychron Venom boards, that automatically calibrate for you. You don't need to do this. This is more of an older thing. And in some of the newer boards know what to expect because you can tell it what your travel distance is by telling it what switches you're using. So as long as you know what the travel distance of your switch is, like on a Keychron board, you tell it my travel distance, and it has a bunch of reference for each length. So here we come. Here comes Z coming around the bend, and it lit green. And so this did in fact resolve our issue. It was a PCB issue in the end. Get to the end of this. Calibrated our keyboard. And it goes back to rainbow. So that is no, don't replace things with rattly stabs. What are you, a monster? Put in clicky Franken switches, sure, but not rattly stabs. Make them good stabs, and then clicky switches, and then they'll, think that they're playing on better than Razer keyboards. So now we're going to go and do a quick sound test on our new PCB. Wait, can't do it here because it makes a noise. So I'll go to my keyboard checker, and here we go. Oh, no, it's still on the other one. View site. Okay. Why am I all messed up? All right, come on. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. I do like this board and its sound. So that is the browser. That is the Q5 HE. This is the first board that we're working on today. And this was our PCB replacement. It resolved the issue, and that is awesome. So we will go ahead and put the case right here. The case is a separate purchase. Make sure you get the right one. I had to reach out to them, although they were willing and did send me the correct insert. This insert, like basically the case is not unique. They use it for most of their boards. No, Darton. Don't do it. Don't do it. The GMMK Pro 3 HE is not good. Do not get it. For that price, you can, for less than that price, right now, you can go to QWERTYKEY's site and you can get their new keyboard. Oh my God. It is so much better than the, first of all, the GMMK Pro, sorry, you got me started on that. And we're going to look at the Win60, but there are other 75% HE keyboards that you can get for the same cost or cheaper. But really, think about the TKO, because that keyboard, the new one, if you haven't watched any videos on it, I don't have one yet, because I bought a lot of keyboards. Yeah, that's because of the stupid goat stabs. But yeah, if you take anything away from my stream today, anything, do not buy the GMMK 3 Pro HE, because that is a waste of, what, $350? For that, you could get a, in a 75%, what can you get with 75%? It isn't, yes, it is a pretty decent board visually. But there are better looking boards. There's just better boards. Now, there aren't many in the 75% range. You could get the Zoom 75 with an HE PCB, and that would be a good thing. I still say look in the TKL range. Either you could build your own by going with the Venom, the Geon Venom PCB, and get something like the Transition. Oh no, the Transition is plastic. No, just get the new QWERTYKEY's one. Save yourself. It's $209, fully built. You'll need to replace the keycaps because the keycaps that come with it are stupid looking. But that is it. That is the only fault in it. It is a looker. It is aluminum. Okay, but let's talk about the Win60. So again, this was a you could just get a Dell keyboard. Just buy a Dell, and it comes with a keyboard. I mean, that's a way to go, I guess. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, doesn't the new QWERTYKEYs have it? Let's take a look at this real quick, and we'll go look at the QWERTYKEYs in a second. I'll use that as an example of how to type on this thing. So, this is the board. You'll see that it looks suspiciously like a, that comes with a cake cover. Let me take that off. It looks suspiciously like another board that you might have heard of. with the angled front, this sort of thing. Their kind of logo-y thing at the bottom. It's all plastic, ABS plastic. It's got the little thing for your, yep, in case you wanted to carry it with a strap. That's stupid. But it does come with a strap, just like that other keyboard. A faux leather connection here, right? These are the bobbles for it. We're not going to use it because we're going to change out the case. It does come with a couple spare switches, which is nice. You shouldn't need spare switches with a Hall Effect keyboard. And then a keycap switch puller and a really jank cable. We're going to put all of this stuff back, including these switches, because we're not even going to use the switches. At the bottom, we get a card. The card has all of our shortcuts. These are important because all of these keys are not changeable in their web driver, which we will see in a little bit. Go back into here and be closable. Okay. Don't mind the damage to the case. Again, this was purchased from an auction site. So it was an open box, but practically new. It had all that stuff in it, which is nice. So this is the board, and we will do a quick typing test on it. I will mute the music for just a moment while we do that. Right. Here is an initial typing test on the Aula Win60. That's the initial sound test. That is where we're starting from. Oh, you want to see a nice one? Here, hold on. Hold on, I gotcha. Got my 40% right here. Well, it's a 50% because it's a 40% with a numpad, right? Isn't that nice? Sounds great. I love this keyboard. Anyway. Yes. Well, I mean, we're gonna see why. We're gonna do two layers of changes here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is we are going to take off all the keycaps, take off all the switches. We're going to replace all the switches with Gateron Pros, and we're going to put it back together. And then we'll see if you just bought Gateron Pros to go in this thing, how does it sound? I mean, it sounds like plastic right now, and that is its thing. And then we're going to take out the PCB entirely, and we're going to drop that PCB into an aluminum. Oh, marshmallows! Thank you for the raid. Raid! You're here just in time. We are looking at the Win60. We just finished doing a repair on the Q5 Hall Effect Keyboard by Keychron, which had a defective sensor in the Z key. And now we just unboxed this guy. We're going to replace the switches with these switches with Keychron Jade Pros, and then put it back together in the stock configuration with the stock keycaps. See how it sounds, and then we're going to do it as a build. We're going to take the PCB out, which if you see, there's our one hole, there's our other hole. That is going to be because this is a GH60 compatible PCB, just like the Wooting. So we're going to drop it into the Salvation, and we're going to leave in the Keychron Jade Pros, or we could put in Geon Ross, but I was planning on leaving the Jade Pros in. And then putting on some better, because I mean these keycaps are Garbaggio, like Caravaggio out of garbage. Let's see. Go backwards. They are 0.8 millimeters thick. You generally want at least one, probably 1.2 millimeters thick. The thicker the better for your sound. So 0.8 is Poopsville, Daddy-o. Oh, that raid didn't last long. Alright, so we have all of our keycaps off. Let's go ahead and grab all of our switches out. Yes, for people who game and wear headphones, these are solid bottom switches. They're just not great. But I mean, if all you're going to be doing is having headphones on and playing your game, then it does not matter how clacky, how pingy, how much spring noise is in it, as long as it works. My goal is to build keyboards that are all around good, and sound is very important to me. Yes, there already is plate foam. I can see it. See, it's that white foam right there. There is no there's no PE sheet, and PE sheets don't do nearly the same with Hall Effect keyboards as they do with your other kinds of keyboards. Now you can also have case foam, and we'll see what case foam is involved here. If any, I suspect it's just some token foam. Yes, that is always my goal. Is that nice balance? It's why I like some of. I'm raising my finger like y'all can see me because normally I do have the camera. Now that's a hippio thing. But some of the HMX switches are deeper. Okay, so this is the board without any switches. You can see that it is designed with no stem hole in it, but with the guide holes, because these switches do have them, as will the Jade Pros, Gateron Jade Pros. So these are our Gateron Jade Pro switches. And we're just going to pop them in here. So these are stock Jade Pro switches. Keep in mind, Jade Pro switches will tint your RGB a little because of their teal color. Well, he's put kinetic sand. He's done the penny mod, I think, on one of his videos. Silicone pores. He has done feathers. Yes, he has done feathers, like from pillows. He's done, what else? Clay. He once filled a keyboard with clay. Betty once put a t-shirt, or part of a t-shirt, into a keyboard build. Correct. If you are not planning on running your RGB, or if you take into account the tint, then you do not need to worry about the color of the switches. It only matters if you like RGB, which I do, and or if you, like I said, in my case, these are teal. I prefer blue, is my favorite color. So I can easily deal with the teal tinting of my RGB. Now if I run it white, like I do for the Q5 with the Tomorrow keycaps on it, then it becomes more of an issue. But not in that case, because those are clear switches. So yeah, it all depends on your personal preference. And what your goals are with your board. If you're strictly utilitarian, well, again, if you're strictly utilitarian, just buy a Dell. It comes with a free keyboard. And if you're looking for something a little bit more than that, then that's where you will find out what do you like in a keyboard. Yeah, I mean, I tend to go, if available, I use gradient. If not, I tend to use solid. I do not tend to use the rainbow color variants. I wish, and in some you can, that like I could do spirals in a solid color, because that would be fun. That is fun. Or waves in a solid color. Waves in a gradient would be great. I don't know why nobody's done that yet. Almost there, everybody. I promise. It'll be, it'll likely be better when we move from the existing switches over to these switches. So we need 4. So you'll have to empty them all out. Okay. And get back on our original keycaps. I don't want to give too much away. I guess the next question would be, do you want me to do it even more systematically? I can just replace the keycaps next, and we can see how that works out. So yeah, for those of you who are just joining us, again, this is the Aula Win60, and we did an initial sound test as the board was stock. Now we are going from stock to just replacing the switches with Gateron Jade Pros, and we're going to take a look and see how that affects the sound. If you weren't here for the first test, then we'll tell you how it goes. Those of you who weren't around for it, darn it. You got the preview. You got the preview anyway. These things just sound cheap. Or they sound like DCS, which are not cheap. Grabbing the ones I'm grabbing because I can see what they are and where they go, instead of using the ones that are in my hand. So these are OEM profile, not cherry profile keycaps as well, which will alter the sound somewhat. They are double shot, which is actually good because it means that if you were to just use these, while they are probably ABS plastic and will shine pretty quickly, they are not going to you're not going to wear out the lettering, because you'd actually have to wear through the layer of black plastic to get to where the white is. Now you could do that eventually, especially in this case because, as we saw, the keyboard is not that thick. Hey, quick question, since I have 19 viewers at the moment. Superman or Fantastic Four? Which was the better movie? Any of you have watched it? Alright, hold that thought. We're going to do our new sound test first. Then we can answer that. We can talk about it while I rebuild it one more time. Alright, so let's go ahead. We're going to pause the music. Bring up my little keyboard thing. And so this is the Aula Win60 stock, but with Jade Pro switches. So, I think it's night and day. Are you talking about the original Ghost Rider film with Nick Cage? Because there was nothing wrong with that film. If you're trolling, you're not going to find the troll here, man. The bit part with Rebel Wilson, where she's the punk and she's like talking about the fires, like his head was all like. Spirit of Vengeance, I mean, obviously it's a sequel. I mean, most cases the sequels aren't better. But, you know. So, as far as this keyboard goes, though, I think that was night and day. I think it was just replacing the switches with these made a significant improvement in the overall sound quality. So, that is a thing. You know, you could totally pay $40 for this keyboard, pay whatever it is, $60 to get 70, or however much it is, to get 70 Gateron Jade Pros, drop them in here, and for, you know, your average gamer who wants a solid keyboard, caveat, you still have to look at the software. And, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's pretty solid. It's got that metal plate on it. I don't know if it's aluminum or steel, but okay. Alright, so now there are 4 screws that we need to remove. They are Phillips head. No, wait. There are 5 screws we need to remove. They are Phillips head. They are located here. here. So I was planning on putting Ghost Judge Nautilus on this board. Once I moved it over to my blue, I forget what they call it, but whatever the shade of blue. Come here. There we go. Yes. So inside, they have brass fittings for the screws, so that's always good to see. The only foam is these two pieces of kind of a loose poron, more of an open cell poron, which is alright, and that is it. And then we have our sandwich here. I am not taking this apart today. It is being held together with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It does not support screw-in or PCB mounted stabs, which I'm not surprised. But let's go ahead and grab our case. So this is the Wilbatech Salvation. And there is our aluminum case. So just going back to the GMMK Pro for a second, you can probably get this keyboard the way we're building it today for the same price or less. Where's my screwdrivers? Yeah. So that's 1, that's 2. So this keyboard, which uses leaf spring gaskets. So basically, this is a piece of FR4 that attaches to the case at these contact points. And then these two pieces screw down onto these two pieces. Everything else fits, and then it flexes on these little rubber pads. So we can just drop this in here, line up our screw holes, and we take our screws. Welcome back. We are screwing this down. So like I was saying, you could probably put this keyboard together the way I'm building it today for cheaper than the GMMK, or the same price. Unless I decide to put in Striker. I could put in Striker. I was going to use Ghost Judge, but if, look at that bounce. It's stable, but bouncy. Alright. Well, we'll start. We'll start with Ghost Judge. So Ghost Judge is sold through KP Republic, who is a friend to my channel. I recently did a big thing on them, but this set, actually, I bought myself. I owned, even before they approached me about showing off Ghost Judge keycaps, I already owned like 7 sets of Ghost Judge, and So they're like, hey, do you want to do that because we're having a promotion? I'm like, oh yeah, you want to send me some more? And so they sent me 2 more sets, and I'm like, yeah, cool. So that was nice. Anyway. So, Ghost Judge, again, is a brand that is sold exclusively through KP Republic. But this colorway, which is called Nautilus, is not their original design. They don't, one of the things, so this is what's called a clone. And one of the things about Ghost Judge that allows me to not feel bad about using clones, these clones anyway, are that they don't have the novelties. They only have the colorways. And in my opinion, you can't really, like, anybody can come up with a colorway. You can always make colorways close but not the same, etc. Even Rubens studied Titian red. But once you start duplicating people's novelties, well, now you're duplicating something that they created that did not exist before. And that is where I draw the line. So these are double shot PBT, as you can see. They are significantly thicker than our original keycaps. At about 1.5, 1.6 millimeters thick. I think they advertise as 1.6. So they're about twice as thick as our original keycaps. They are also PBT. Actually, I think they might be a PBT blend with ABS, which means that they'll shine a little faster than a straight PBT set, but not many sets are 100%. Well, GMK does not scam their customers. They will produce smaller sets because that's how they work, and thus the sets that they produce become more coveted. They own the rights to the original GMK or Cherry. I forget if it's the machining or the formulas or whatever. So GMK ABS keycaps are better than other companies' keycaps. Like Keykobo, I kind of prefer, but you can't fault GMK. They make good stuff. I can fault them sometimes because I think some of their stuff could be produced in higher quantities, thus making it more reasonably priced. And now let's go ahead and take a listen to our new configuration. This is the Aula Win60 PCB in a Wilbitech Salvation case with Ghost Judge Nautilus and Gateron Jade Pros. Mouthful. Here we go. Okay. I think that the case muted it a little bit. Let's go ahead and we're going to plug it in now. You can see that nice RGB. Take our case and set it off to the side. Just bring all you here. Yeah, I mean, GMK is a quality, like, there's another company, JTK, that kind of has a good reputation, but the one GTK set that I have had all kinds of over extrudes and under extrudes, which you don't really see on the Ghost Judge, but basically it's when they have, like, the letters are thinner or fatter because they push too much plastic for that layer. The Ghost Judge does have the shift problem, which is to say, if you notice that there's kind of almost an extra space between the F and the T. That's by their design because of how their fonting works, but it still looks a little weird. And it's all of their keycaps do that, so it's in their molds. But, you know, that's fine. It's fine. All right, let's go back to our browser. And we're going to take a look at the Aula software. Notice that the name for the Aula is in Chinese, but it connects just the same. This is our software. This software is, you know, it's got its good things and its bad. I find that the interface isn't very intuitive, but you know, you can apply your DKS, your MT, your TGL to it here. I have not found socked in here. I looked a little bit earlier. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. It does allow you to set multiple profiles. Yes, ad blocker. Well, I don't use too many ad blockers. I do sometimes, but not usually. So we have our lights. You can turn your lights off, like you talked about earlier. We can do neon. Change our foreground color. Change our background color. See what that does. Yeah, look at that. That's nice. See, this is actually better than most of my. Let's do twinkle. More stark. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's nice. Here's your actuation. By default, it is set to 1.7. We're going to select it all. We're going to drop this down to 1.2. You can set your dead zone, which by default is set to 0.02. I think it was set to 0.04, and I might have accidentally set it. And then here is the switches. Everything is set to whatever HM1 is. It doesn't tell us what that is. We're going to go with magnetic switch CY1. The only one that they have in here is actually the TTC COM switch, which is kind of weird, but okay. Now, here's one of the things. So, when I was going through, because I went through a couple weeks ago, and we went through several different Hall Effect keyboards, and only one other one that I looked at allowed you to change the polling rate. So, the polling rate for your keyboard, yes, that's right. Okay. The polling rate for your keyboard, unless you're a pro gamer, does not necessarily really need to be 8 kilohertz. It's kind of become a talking point, and so most keyboards now have it. I like the fact that you can reduce it because it does ease a little bit of the stress on your CPU. How much? I've heard varying reports now. I thought it was a lot, and now people are telling me, no, it's like nothing, because it's a keyboard. I'm like, whatever, it's cool. And there's an article that I still have to read. But the fact that it's selectable, actually, we'll make it 2 kilohertz. Why not? Browser access. Anything over 2 kilohertz is kind of a gimmick and not really needed. And the fact that you can alter it, in my opinion, actually makes the fact that you can alter it on a $40 keyboard software, it makes other keyboard softwares like the Keychron laughable. Like, why wouldn't you do it? Why? I don't understand. So let's do our calibration. We're going to start our calibration. So we're just going to push all of our keys again. This is the same as we did on the other one. Okay. We have now successfully calibrated. I don't know what PRCS is. I'll have to look that up. And you have some basic guys here. So let's look at our key mapping. Notice our function layer. We talked about this before. It says default. It should tell us what that default is. I know for a fact in this case that these are going to be our navigation keys. You can't remap function. That makes sense. Then we have our default there. I agree. Why not? Just. I mean, you could also, depending. I mean, you can unsolder your switches and change out your switches for a bunch of Y3s. That's what I would suggest. So yeah. So this is the Aula Win60. We could take it deeper. Do we want to hear it go deeper? Oh, your Razer Death Adder mouse. Sorry. You actually might be able to. I mean, I've seen modders go in and replace the switches on their mice. I don't know much about the mouse hobby. That is outside of my purview. Let's see, I think this is in here. Yes. Alright. Just to see if we can take it a little bit deeper, maybe get a little bit of a different sound out of it. I know some people have been asking for a deep sounding HE keyboard, and one of the best ways for me to get that is to replace the default keycaps and switches. So, as I said before, what's in here right now are the Nautilus keycaps, and they are double shot PBT. What these are the Keeps for All white on navy keycaps, and they're dye sub PBT, which means they're pure PBT, and they are dye sublimated instead of double shot. So they are basically colored by the oh, you can see it. So basically, they have a dye. They heat it up a little bit, and they basically lay down in a layer that permeates into the plastic. Now, something about the way dye sublimation, composition of dye sublimated keycaps is, they are deeper than your normal keycaps. So you have your double shot, and then you have your dye sub. Now, in this particular case, I was going to go deeper, but I don't think I'm gonna, unless I decide to change out these switches, because this sound, to me, like this is a deeper sound. I could go in that direction, but I think that the dye sub keys add an extra, they're bringing an extra sound to the front. So, I was going to do that, and now I'm not. Okay, let's see here real quick. But what we will do is we'll take a little break from the Hall effect for a little bit, and what do you say we take a look at some new HMX switches? I'm going to leave that built this way for now. Not too bad. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. See how I feel about it later. It's all about walking away, and you come back and you're like, wow, that's awesome, or ugh. For those of y'all who missed that just now, it was ugh. Okay, I will be right back. Don't anybody go anywhere, please. Okay. Oh, hey, awesome. Good to see you. Actually, if you saw that blue keyboard I just had up here, that was actually the Aula in a Wilbitech Salvation with Gateron. So out of the box, the Aula Win60 isn't a great sounding keyboard. Oh, it did not show me anything. Awesome. Well, thank you for whoever did something. But once I put in, replace the switches with Gateron Jade Pros, it was like night and day. And then if you replace the keycaps, I think you could just take it a little bit further and you would have a fine keyboard. In this particular case, we're going to get rid of that. My last thing that I had for today was we're going to look at some new switches from Akko and HMX collab. That is the Bittersweet and the Stellar Rose. I can tell you right now, the bittersweet, which I have one right here, earlier today I had, is a tactile. It's a light tactile. It's supposed to be like an HMX equivalent of a brown. I did not care for this, and let me see if I can show you why. So the switches that we're starting from here are HMX gravel. This is on Osume Night Market keycaps, or under Osume Night Market keycaps. And this keyboard is the Windex R2. So this is where we're starting from. Hold on. Let's go ahead and pause the music for a sec. Okay, that's where we're starting from. The sound's fine. And just to show you, there is virtually no stem wobble on the gravel switches. However, I don't know what mold they used for this. But earlier when I was looking at it, and maybe it'll be like night and day in here, and I'd be thrilled by that. But like, there is a bunch of play. I don't know if that's coming through, but this thing is wobbling all over the place. It sounds better in here than it did earlier, in whenever I tried it in. So for a point of second comparison, another collab with HMX and Akko in the tactile range is this guy. This is the HMX Akko, or Akko HMX Cilantro switch. So the Cilantro is a heavier top bump switch. So I don't know. I'm on the fence now on what I hated it when I first put them in a keyboard earlier. Like, it just, like, I typed on it, I'm like, wow. First of all, that stem wobble is crazy. But I don't think that we're going to use these right now. I think I'm going to put these away. I might try them a little bit on something later. But what we will be trying are these. These are the Stellar Rose. These are a linear switch, which I tend to prefer. I've been trying to get in a little bit into some tactiles. Now, as far as HMX Akko collabs, I did have, do I have it here handy? Anyway, I have the mirrors. I thought I had a mirror handy. Apparently I don't. Apparently I don't. Oh, I think I put it in a keyboard earlier. But these are supposed to be a little bit deeper than the mirrors, which I like the mirrors a lot. So these are the gravel. So even deeper. Yeah. Kind of digging it. Go ahead and put a second one in here. Taste of the cilantro. What do y'all think? You know, some people say they all sound the same. I think it's obviously wrong. I don't know, these, they don't have any stem wobble, by the way. Let's see here. Replace a couple of these guys. So, as opposed to what many people thought, the recent boards were not the first to start putting foam on their plates. The Wind XR2 actually had a top of the plate foam that you could install, and I did, and that's what's on here right now. This is a plastic plate with pour-on foam on top of it, which kind of gives it an interesting sound, if you ask me. Oh, hey wait, mirrors. Boom. I remember where the mirrors are. They're right there in that container. So these are the Akko mirrors. So they're going to be a little bit higher pitched, but I think they're going to have a cleaner sound on this board. So these are the gravel. These are the stellar rows. And these are the mirrors. So I think that the mirrors are the cleanest, with the gravels, and then the stellar rows. So I think the stellar rows are going to kind of also be a bust for me. And then finally, if we're talking about, well, I think I've decided that they're a bust for me. So we're going to pull these off. And for checking some switches here, just as a point of comparison to something that a lot of people have been using recently. Let's go ahead and drop in. There's one, there's two. These are the HMX Cosmic Purple. And so these are the gravel. Here's the mirror. And here's the Cosmic Purple. So this is a little bit of a brighter sound. It is not quite as clacky as the mirrors. But is just a clean sounding switch. Which is why people are in love with the Cosmic Purples, and why I'm in love with the Lunar Stones, which also share similar profile. But I think it's a little bit deeper. Other people saying this is deeper. I'm not so sure. What do y'all think? Having heard all of the switches, which is your favorite? If you want to try any of these out, you can get most of them through Unikeys, although I know that they are currently sold out of the Stellar Rose. I had to get them from Amazon, and which is fine because I'm going to end up returning them probably at this point, since they are not what I want. Let's do the Heya test, which is what I'm doing, by the way. I'm typing out the word Heya with a capital H and then hitting space. Which uses, you know, all 4 rows. Some of them modified, but still. Thanks for the sub, man. Really appreciate it. That's I think that makes it so that yeah, I have now 4 subs. Woot woot. So here's the Heya. All right, thanks, man. You have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy your night and get some sleep. And have a wonderful tomorrow. It's actually, or today. I don't know what time it is there. Yeah, it's probably already tomorrow, I would guess. Maybe. Maybe. Who knows? All right. yeah, I may just have to get more Cosmic Purples. I'm just probably going to return the Stellar Rose and the Bittersweets. Order some Cosmic Purples, some more Cosmic Purples, because I kind of want to change out the 5 a.m. Yeah. So yeah, it's here tomorrow. So have a great day forward. But that is pretty much it for my stream, everybody. I love the fact that y'all showed up, and I really appreciate everybody. I was going to do the Tide 65 this week, but I opted instead to do the Win60, just to kind of, because the question from Dry P, he wanted to hear the Win60. I hope he got a chance to. If not, check out the video on demand, because I do a sound test stock. I do a sound test after having just replaced the switches, and that's it. And then I pulled the board out, or the PCB out, put it inside of a Wilbitech Salvation, and put on some double shot PBT keycaps. And then that was the final one, which actually I can go grab that again. And let's just do another sound test with it real quick before I wrap up the stream. So this is what you can do with a $40 keyboard and what, $150 case with $40 keycaps. Oh, and $60 worth of switches. So it's still kind of clacky. I think that let's see here. Just because I'm curious. So these are Geon Raw switches on my desk. And I'm going to drop a couple of Geon Raws in here and see what that does to the sound profile. So these are the Gateron Jade Pros. These are the Geon Raws. I don't think it makes it better. It does make it deeper, though. Well, hold on a sec. So let's do that. Let's do that. It's all about experimentation. Unfortunately, experimentation like this often comes with a pretty hefty price tag. I'm always on the lookout for deals, or if anybody wants to sponsor me or anything like that, I'm willing to look at their stuff. I'll give it the same opinion I give anything. Alright, so How about the Geon Raws with the die sub keycaps? It emphasizes the spring thing. Okay. Alright, it was a nice thought. It was a good thought. Part of the problem is that because of the nature, and I might try it anyway, because of the nature of the, yeah, let's try it. Let's try it. What do you say? Because of the nature of the, what do you call it? Leaf spring. Thank you. I would have to actually punch holes in a bunch of different places, so we are not going to try that right now. Maybe I'll try it later, and if I do, I will bring that back next week and show you what I've done, but I might punch a bunch of holes in the foam and install the case foam from the original Win60 into here, but I would have to punch holes for all of the standoffs for all of the pieces. Alright, well, that was an alright experiment. I still think that the board came out nice. It's a little clacky. By a little, I mean it's a lot clacky. But it's not bad sounding. I think it's light years better than where it started. Personally, but you know, that's me. This is a wired-only keyboard, so keep that in mind. That's a feature that you look for in a board. There aren't as many Hall Effect wireless keyboards. They are out there, though. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, I think it's, yeah. So the Hex 80 for about $150 less than the GMMK 3 Pro HE, you can get the Hex 80. You can get it in, you know, Joker slash Gundam, or is it Gundam? Or is it Evangelion? Whatever. You can get it in mecha colors. You can get it in pink. You can get it in white and blue with red accents. The sand gold is nice. It's kind of a coffee. But my favorite is the gray anno with the orange accents. I think it looks pretty freaking nice. It comes stock with Aula TI switches, which are most people think are the best switches on the market right now. I'm not so sold. I've tried them. I kind of didn't think that they were that much better than some of the other ones, like the Geon Raws or the Keychron J Pros, because they are clackier, and that's kind of the big problem I have. I want to try some of the new clear Hall Effect switches that KP Republic has, but I haven't tried them yet. But you can see here I don't know if you can see there. You can see here the stupid dot matrix font that they use for the keycaps, which are transparent, and I'm not a big fan of that. Oh, here you go. Here you go. There's that font. Look at that. In all of its dot matrixy glory. So for like the next week, it's $209. Then it's going to shoot up $40. Keep in mind that this does not include shipping. Shipping from QWERTY keys is generally $35 or more. So keep that in your back pocket. And I think it's definitely worth it over the GMMK, even with all of those caveats. The GMMK really like the finish that QWERTY keys has is much nicer. I have like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 QWERTY keys / Neo keyboards right now. I keep buying them because they are just all nice. They're about to release the Neo 65. Do they have it in here yet? They don't. They're about to release the Neo 65 core, and I am stoked by that. Oh, hey. And where you at? Got 2 turntables and a microphone. There we go. Yes, should have been there. Did good. So I'm excited for this. This probably almost exactly this colorway. Actually, exactly that colorway, because I'm going to get the copper bottom with the slate blue top, is going to be my next keyboard purchase. I'm anxious to see whether or not I can get a set of these and use them on the original Neo 65. It'd be interesting to find out. I asked about it. But yeah, so this right here, except for with the wireless, is going to be my next keyboard. 1000 hertz polling rate. All right, let's see. Again, thanks everybody for joining me. Let me go find somebody to raid. I think Kimmy is at a coffee shop. If y'all are interested in that. Let's see. Unless somebody's doing keyboards, which they are not. We're going to go hang with Kimmy over at Cafe. So thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. And that's next week, 3 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And I'll be doing the Tide 65. Thanks, and have a great one.